In the glamorous yet fleeting world of Hollywood, some love stories become legends, retold across generations. But others, though deep and genuine, quietly fade into obscurity, overshadowed by the spotlight and cruel tragedies. The story of Robert Urich and Heather Menzies is one such tale. He was an action hero with a kind heart. She was a star of the timeless classic, The Sound of Music. Together, they crafted one of Hollywood's most enduring yet underappreciated love stories, a tale whose ending is steeped in haunting sorrow, marked by coincidences so uncanny they seem almost unbelievable. Robert Urich, the hero who shattered every mold. Robert Urich's career is a legend in American television history. He holds the record as one of the leading actors with the most starring roles, appearing in 15 different TV series across 3 decades. What's remarkable isn't just the quantity, but the extraordinary versatility. Urich never let himself be pigeonholed. He defied every stereotype Hollywood tried to impose on him. From a rugged action star, he seamlessly transitioned into a profound, dramatic actor. When audiences grew accustomed to that image, he surprised them again by shining as a talented singer on the prestigious Broadway stage. Ultimately, he earned the public's trust as a respected documentary host for National Geographic. Urich's journey didn't begin on the red carpet. Hailing from Ohio, he was a gifted American football player with a promising future in sports. With no connections or industry pedigree, his only weapons were raw talent, charisma, and an iron will. Fortune smiled on him through a fateful friendship with legend Burt Reynolds. It was Reynolds who saw potential in the young man and helped him land his first major role, opening the door to Tinseltown. In 1975, Robert Urich appeared in the action series SWAT as Officer Jim Street. Though the show lasted only 1 season due to criticism over its violence, the role was enough to bring his face into millions of American homes. However, it was Vega 1978-1981, that truly catapulted him to stardom. As the suave private detective Dan Tanner, Urich created a cultural icon. His image, cruising the neon-lit streets of Las Vegas in a classic red 1957 Ford Thunderbird, solving cases with a half-smile and a heart of gold, became immortal. The role earned him 2 Golden Globe nominations and made him one of the most beloved stars of his era. Following this success, he continued to shine in Spencer for Hire, 1985-1988, another acclaimed detective series. The show was not only an artistic triumph, but also delivered a $50 million economic boost to Massachusetts through local filming. Robert Urich's career stands as a testament to an artist who constantly reinvented himself, conquering television in a way few others have. Heather Menzies, from resounding melodies to quiet sacrifice. At just 15 years old, Heather Menzies stepped into the pantheon of cinematic legends as Louisa Von Trapp in the timeless classic The Sound of Music, 1965. The film won 5 Oscars and became an indelible part of global cultural heritage. But few know that, behind the camera, young Heather displayed extraordinary courage. During a scene involving a boat on a lake, the vessel suddenly capsized. While others panicked, Heather didn't hesitate to dive in and save her 5-year-old co-star Kim Carath, who played Gretel, who was sinking. This heroic act saved a life and revealed the strength of her character. After the monumental success of The Sound of Music, Heather faced a challenge common to many child stars, breaking free from the towering shadow of her debut role. She refused to be forever typecast as the innocent Louisa. To prove her maturity and versatility, Heather made a bold move. In 1973, she appeared in a provocative Playboy spread titled Tender Trap, a clever play on the surname of the character that launched her fame. The decision caused a stir, but succeeded in shattering her old image. Heather went on to tackle diverse genres, from starring in the cult horror film Piranha, 1978, to the science fiction series Logan's Run, 1977. She proved herself a talented actress, willing to take risks to pursue her artistic passion. A fated love and family tragedy. Fate brought Robert Urich and Heather Menzies together in 1974 in a setting both utterly mundane and deeply ironic, a commercial for Libby's canned corned beef. On a staged set, they were asked to play a happy couple sharing a simple meal, but the spark that ignited between them was entirely real. It was an instant, undeniable connection that both felt deeply. While Robert was a rising actor with magnetic charm and ambition, Heather was an established star seeking to heal from the wounds of a failed first marriage at the age of 20. Their bond was so profound that just over a year later, on 21 November 1975, they married. In a Hollywood rife with fleeting romances and dramatic affairs, Robert and Heather's marriage was a different story. They didn't court scandal or chase tabloid attention. Instead, they quietly built a steadfast love, a true partnership that endured for 27 years. Their happiness seemed complete when Heather became pregnant soon after their wedding. They were overjoyed, eagerly anticipating their new chapter as parents. But then the first tragedy struck. Heather suffered a miscarriage. The loss was heart-wrenching, but it didn't break them. They leaned on each other to carry on, their love growing even stronger. They held on to hope. Before long, Heather was pregnant again. This time their joy was tempered with cautious anxiety, yet the nightmare repeated itself. Heather lost another unborn child. The pain was even deeper, carving into their hearts. When Heather became pregnant a third time, their hope was nearly crushed. The third miscarriage was a final, cruel blow. Doctors diagnosed Heather with a rare condition called endometriosis, rendering her unable to carry a child to term. Faced with indescribable grief, they realized their path to biological parenthood was closed, but their love for each other and their longing for a family remained unshaken. They decided their love was vast enough to share, to give to children who needed a home. They chose adoption. The process was far from easy, demanding patience and an open heart. But eventually, a miracle arrived. In 1978, they welcomed their first son, Ryan. His laughter lit up their home, dispelling the dark clouds of the past. 2 years later, in 1980, their family grew with the addition of their daughter, Emily. Years later, as their children grew, they opened their arms again to adopt their youngest daughter, Allison, in 1998. Family became the center of their universe. Heather, once a radiant star, made a choice few Hollywood actresses would dare. She prioritized family over career. She largely stepped away from the spotlight, embracing a role far more significant, that of a mother. She wanted to personally nurture and raise the children she and Robert had fought so hard to have. And Robert, at the height of his career, supported her decision unconditionally. He didn't just pay lip service. He backed it with action. While filming Spencer, for hire in Boston, far from their California home, he insisted on an almost unprecedented contract clause. The studio had to provide a private plane so he could fly home every weekend and whenever his daughter, Emily, had a doctor's appointment. He was a true father, not just in name. Their son Ryan once recalled that when he misbehaved as a child, Robert never raised his voice. Instead, he would sit on the floor, eye level with his son, and gently ask, "What's going on, son?" He sought to understand, not punish. In the chaotic, cutthroat world of Hollywood, Robert and Heather created an oasis of peace and warmth. They built a family grounded in love, sacrifice, and understanding. They had the children they had longed for, and for a time, their lives seemed truly fulfilled. But no one could have foreseen that fate was not done testing them, and the most devastating tragedies were still to come. When tragedy follows tragedy. The life of Robert Urich and Heather Menzies, after overcoming the pain of losing unborn children and building a joyful family through adoption, seemed to have entered a new chapter of fulfillment and peace. Robert's career was at its peak, while Heather found complete joy in her role as a mother. They were the embodiment of true love, a steadfast fortress in the turbulent world of Hollywood. But then, fate knocked once more, this time bringing a storm called cancer, a storm that would test their love to its limits and leave behind a heart-wrenching, tragic ending. In August 1996, during a routine health check, Robert Urich received devastating news. The man seen as a symbol of strength and resilience, America's action hero, was diagnosed with an extremely rare and aggressive form of cancer, synovial cell sarcoma. This vicious disease typically attacks the soft tissues around joints and is notoriously malignant. It was a cruel irony. The man who had spent his career playing invincible characters now faced an invisible, deadly enemy within his own body. The battle began. Robert endured treatments that were grueling just to hear described. Endless rounds of chemotherapy felt like poison coursing through his veins, draining his vitality. Scorching radiation sessions and multiple surgeries followed. Throughout this dark period, Heather was his sole beacon of light. She was his partner, his nurse, his unwavering companion. She stood by him through every pang of pain, wiped away every bead of sweat, and kept the flame of hope alive. Their love, already tested by the loss of unborn children, was now forged in the crucible of illness. And then, a miracle happened. In 1998, after 2 years of relentless fighting, Robert was declared cancer-free by his doctors. It was a sweet victory. Not only did he survive, but he turned his brush with death into a mission. He became a passionate spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, traveling the country to inspire and raise awareness about the disease. Together with Heather, he founded the Robert Urich Foundation, dedicated to supporting sarcoma research. He even fulfilled a long-held dream of shining on Broadway as Billy Flynn in the musical Chicago. He lived, and he lived fully. But the shadow of the past never truly left. In November 2001, the nightmare returned. The cancer had recurred, more aggressive than before, spreading rapidly and no longer responding to treatment. No surgery could help, no faint hope remained. The 6-year battle of this hero reached its end. On 16 April 2002, in a California hospital, Robert Urich took his final breath. He passed peacefully in the arms of his beloved wife and their 3 children, who meant everything to him. He was 55 years old. The moment of his death was 7:22 p.m. Heather, at 52, became a widow. She had lost the man of her life, the companion who had weathered every storm with her. The grief was immeasurable, but she refused to let it defeat her. She carried on the mission they had started together, pouring her heart into the Robert Urich Foundation. She turned her personal pain into strength to help thousands of other families, ensuring no one else had to endure her kind of loss. For the next 15 years, she lived for her husband's legacy, their children, and the fight against cancer. And then, tragedy struck again, with a brutality and symmetry that sends chills down the spine. In November 2017, Heather began feeling unwell. The initial symptoms were vague but quickly worsened. She was rushed to the hospital, and a diagnosis came swiftly: glioblastoma multiforme. It was a death sentence. This form of brain cancer is among the most aggressive known to medicine. The woman who had spent 15 years fighting cancer for others was now told she had no time to fight for herself. The disease progressed at a terrifying pace. There were no months of treatment, no last-minute clinical trials, no chance to organize the fundraising efforts she had dedicated her life to. Just 4 weeks later, on Christmas Eve, 24 December 2017, Heather Menzies Urich passed away at her home in Ontario in the arms of her 3 children. Her son, Ryan, later shared with the world. She passed peacefully. She was in no pain. She faced death with the same calm dignity that defined her life. But what left everyone stunned was the time of her passing. Heather died at 7:22 p.m., the exact same time, down to the minute, as Robert, 15 years earlier. This was no mere coincidence. It was a tragic symmetry, a haunting and inexplicable echo of fate, as if a thread of destiny had bound them together not just in life, but in death. Their love story, already extraordinary, was now etched with an unforgettable, heart-wrenching conclusion. They had faced pain together, built happiness together, and in the end, seemed to leave this world together in a way no one could explain, leaving behind a vast void and a love story forever recounted with sorrow and admiration. The story of Robert Urich and Heather Menzies is not just a tragedy of illness. It is a poignant yet beautiful epic of a love that overcame every Hollywood challenge only to meet a fated end with an uncanny symmetry. They fought together, loved together, and it seems fate bound them together forever, not just in life but in death. They endured losses few could bear, yet through it all they held fast to their love and respect for each other. Their deaths, exactly 15 years apart and aligned to the very minute, leave an unanswered question, a haunting mystery beyond ordinary logic. This leads us to wonder, was their identical time of passing merely a cosmic coincidence? Or was it a final, metaphysical affirmation of a love so profound it transcended the boundaries of life and death? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this remarkable story. Do you believe in fate, or is it simply chance? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're captivated by emotional, untold stories about the lives of legends, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Our channel is dedicated to bringing you these profound stories, ensuring such legacies are never forgotten. Thank you for watching.